Hey guys, welcome back to Ashar Books. Today I'm going to be doing my April Part 2 wrap-up. So these are going to be the 5 books that I read at the second half of April. So let's go ahead and dive in. So the first book I read was Piece of Work by Stacey Hart. And this is book 1 actually in the Red Lipstick Coalition by Stacey Hart. This series is so fantastic. So I read book 3 actually, which was Work in Progress a few months ago, and it was one of my favorite books of the year so far. So I knew I needed to go back and read the rest of the series. I would say you can definitely read these as standalones. You just kind of get a little bit more of like the friendship group if you read them in order, which I'm so bad at remembering to read things in order. But this one, Piece of Work, was also fantastic. I gave it 5 stars. I just love Stacey Hart's writing. In this book, we're following our 2 main characters, Ren and Court. So Ren is a PhD student. I think she's at NYU studying art history, and she has gotten kind of like an internship at the Met. So Court is very high up in the kind of museum. I honestly can't remember his title, but he's kind of one of the head like curators for the art exhibit that she is going to be working under. He's a lot of power, a lot of money. His family is very, very wealthy in New York. So the story basically follows Ren, and she is the most delightful character. I loved her so much. She starts off the book very insecure, very just quiet. She doesn't want people to notice her. She kind of just wants to fade into the background. So her heritage is interesting and kind of makes her feel, I think, really insecure at the beginning of the book. So her mom is of Asian descent and her dad is European. So she has a lot of the features of her mom, but she's very tall. She's like 6 foot, I believe, which for Ren is making her feel very insecure. She feels like she can never find clothes that fit her right, so she really just wears like oversized baggy stuff to try to just fade into the background. And then Court has a really interesting family dynamic. His dad's not a nice person. A lot of drama has gone down between his dad and himself and a past girlfriend. So he's very damaged from that. It starts off with Ren getting this like internship with the Met, with Court. And it basically is just about the 2 of them kind of finding each other. And I think this book, even more so, is about Ren finding herself. Throughout the book, they start this like Red Lipstick Coalition where they kind of have to be brave and put on the red lipstick, and like they take her to a shop and she finds clothes that are like designed for her, and she's like stunning, and like people's jaws drop when she walks into work. And I just loved like seeing her come into her own. It was a fantastic book. I really felt like the dynamic between Court and Ren. I didn't think the power dynamic was a problem in this book. You know, he is her boss, but to me it wasn't a problem. I loved it. If you like art history too, they talk so much about art history. They go to Italy at one point to get a piece of work, and I really enjoy art history. I like learning about that. I love the Met, so for me it was just an added bonus. But yeah, I absolutely love this book. It was fantastic and also hilarious. Stacey Hart has really funny books as well. So Piece of Work, definitely amazing, a 5-star read. The next book I read, I actually don't have with me because I read Defy Me by Tahara Mafi, which is book 5 in the Shatter Me series. I really can't say too much about this just because it is book 5 in a series, but I will just take this opportunity to say that if you haven't picked up the Shatter Me trilogy and you're maybe not huge on YA, I would say still give it a chance. I don't read that much YA anymore, but I started reading this series obviously back when it started coming out like years ago, and it's one of those series I couldn't let go. It's one of my absolute favorites, and it's one that I think reads as a very mature YA. So if you have issues with some of the other series because of that, I think it's still fantastic. I love seeing Juliet and how she's really matured over the series. I mean, really drastically from book 1 to book 5. The love story in this is one of the best romances ever. Like, I will go down with that ship. I really, really love it. So yeah, just if you have, I can't really say much about Defy Me because it's book 5. I will say if you haven't read it yet and you've read book 4 with that cliffhanger, like pick up this one. I was a little terrified because of the cliffhanger. No, I didn't know where it was gonna go, but I was relieved. It was fantastic. I really loved it, and I am so excited for book 6, which is the last book to come out next year. So yeah, Defy Me, I gave it 5 stars. It's incredible. Go pick it up. Next book I read is called Hollywood Playboy by Natasha Madison. I kind of just wanted to pick up something that was like a quick, easy kind of book, and this one just sounded really good. I'm a complete sucker for any kind of like celebrity romance, and this one definitely was the ticket. So this book follows I believe his name was Tyler, and he was an actor, big time actor. He's very famous. And then it follows Jessica, who is actually the press. So she works for kind of what I envision as like a Entertainment Tonight or something like that. So she's a journalist, but she's like a celebrity journalist. So she kind of reports on all of their happenings. She wanted to be like a hard-hitting journalist growing up, but she kind of started this job and just figured out she was actually really, really good at it. She's one of the top in the business and kind of just got stuck doing it. So the book follows the two of them, and basically they've met before. He's an actor, she's the press. They don't get along. You know, they both kind of think the others are jerks, and that's just how they think it's gonna be forever. So Tyler's got this big movie coming out, and his kind of people have decided they're gonna do this huge press junket over like a month, and they're gonna invite all of these press to come on this junket across Europe with them. Lo and behold, who's the first person they invite? Jessica, and neither one wants to have this happening. Jessica does not want to go, but her boss is like, nope, you're going. And Tyler just thinks she's press and can't be trusted. So it's their love story, and I mean, it was pretty predictable, I will say. I give this 4 stars just for pure enjoyment factor. I really enjoyed it. It was a great read if you like that kind of thing, with celebrities and kind of opposites and stuff like that. I really recommend it. It wasn't anything mind-blowing, you know, in the sense of you kind of knew where it was going, but I will say I loved the way that the relationship was built because it didn't happen overnight. This one I'd say was a bit of a slow burn, and they both really thought about it, especially Jessica. You know, she had a lot to risk in her career, and she did not want to go down just being another like girl for in his bed. So I really, really appreciated that. She was a really smart character. Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. Next book I read is Skater Boy by Mary Catherine Gebhard. If you watched my unboxing / book haul, you saw me open this one, and I was really excited to read it because it sounded like something I would enjoy, and I was right, guys. I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. I highly recommend. It was just so different. First of all, I didn't realize when originally reading this it actually takes place in the, I think it was the late 80s, early 90s. I just love that. I thought it was really different, and kind of something you don't normally read from. So this book, I'm going to start off by saying, I feel like I have a hard time describing it, what's about, because it kind of jumps back and forth between a couple of different timelines, and I don't want to give anything away. So I do think this is a book to go in a little bit blind with, but just trust me, it's amazing and you need to try it. But I'll try to explain a little bit. So this book follows Tweety, who is a skateboarder, and she, first of all, I love that she's trying to kind of go into this field that's a very male-dominated field. Especially at this time, no one's really doing it, but she's amazing and she's got this passion. So the book starts off at present day, and she's moving back into this place called Patchwork House, where she lived when she was younger. So I believe she's about 20 at this point. And she left when she was about 18, so she's been gone 2 years. So Patchwork House is kind of this place for like undesirables in town, or that society thinks are undesirables, you know, people they see as like riffraff or like druggies or, you know, smoking pot. And basically these boys have started this house a few years ago for people to go, and they kind of run this patchwork house and are known as like the kings of the area. So something happens to Tweety when she's very young and she has nowhere else to go, and she gets taken in by these boys at Patchwork House, which was adorable because you have these really rough, kind of known as like delinquent type guys, but they are such softies for Tweety when she was young. I believe she moved in when she was like 9 or 10. And then the other main character of this book is Flip. And Flip was one of the best skateboarders around. He was amazing at a very young age, but something happened that caused him to kind of go away, and no one knows really what happened to him. He stopped skateboarding, all of that. So these two storylines obviously do come together because Flip is back at Patchwork House as well, and it sounds like he lived there before, but Tweety does not remember him. So I know it sounds confusing, but I promise it makes sense. You get both storylines from present day, and then you get past storylines from what was going on in the past, and perhaps how Tweety and Flip knew each other from before. So I love this. I am still thinking about this book, and I read it like 2 weeks ago. The romance between the two characters is amazing. It's just, I love that you got to see the past and the present. Sometimes this doesn't work for me because I get bored by the past and I just want the present. Not in this case. I felt like it really built the relationship up, so it made a lot of sense. I loved the guys in Patchwork House. I'm really excited to read the next book and see whose book it is because I know it's going to, I'm assuming, be someone else's book. Yeah, definitely take a chance on this. It is in Kindle Unlimited as well as just regular the Kindle store, so definitely check this out. I loved Skater Boy so much and I can't wait to keep reading. The last book I read this month was Beard Signs by Penny Reed, which is book 3 in the Winston Brothers series. So me and my best friend are both reading this series right now, and we've been waiting for Cletus's book because Cletus is just that character that you kept hearing about and like seeing in the previous books, and you just wanted to know his story. So this is it. So Cletus is the second or third oldest, I think second oldest in the Winston Brothers, and he's kind of the one that is just very different. He's very quirky. He's very analytical, I'd say. He has a reason for everything he does. Off is very just kind of quirky and different, but he is the smartest and the most kind of manipulative of the brothers, and you never know what's coming with him. So this story follows Cletus and Jennifer. And Jennifer was mentioned in previous books as the banana cake queen, and she's a baker. Her family owns a bakery, and she's known as making banana cake, which I just loved the story arc of Jennifer. I thought it was done so well. Jennifer, in my mind, I'm envisioning like a Southern debutante. She wears like pastel colors. She always wears heels. She has big blonde hair. But it turns out that perhaps not all of that is from her own choice. Jennifer is about 22, but she still lives with her parents, and she kind of has no power. She's the one who's doing all of this work, but her parents are the ones who are kind of taking the glory for it, and she's kind of just told what to do. So her family dynamic is not great. So at the beginning of this story, Jennifer needs help. She knows that she wants a husband, she wants babies, but she doesn't know how to get that. She realizes she wants help with this whole dating situation, and she accidentally catches something sneaky and pretty much illegal that Cletus has done on camera by accident. So she goes about blackmailing him into helping her kind of figure out this whole how do I date and find a husband situation. So Jennifer's kind of always known that Cletus is the most dangerous of the brothers because he's the one you don't expect. He's the one who's sneaky and manipulative, and he gets what he wants. So she's actually a little bit scared of working with him at first, but don't worry, like, he's complete softy for those he loves. It basically follows the two of them. Obviously, it does not start off as their love story, but perhaps it turns into it. I love this book. I thought Cletus was amazing. I love kind of seeing inside his head, which is an interesting place to be. Jennifer, like I said, her storyline just from finding who she is was such a great story arc, and I really love that just as much as I love the love story aspect. So if you haven't read the Winston Brothers, definitely pick them up. I think you can read them as standalones, but I think you get more out of it if you do read them in order, just with family dynamics and stuff like that, because the family is such a hilarious and important part of the series. So I definitely gave this one 5 stars. Alright guys, so those are the 5 books I read for the second half of April. Let me know what you guys are reading or if you've read any of these. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!